My son Malik is 10 years old, and for weeks he had been counting down to his graduation like it was the biggest event in the world. Every day after school he would come home and practice his walk. He would march across the living room, pretending to hear his name called, shaking imaginary hands, and bowing like he was on stage in front of thousands of people. He even practiced different smiles in the mirror, deciding which one made him look the most confident. Sometimes he would line up his stuffed animals on the couch and say, "This is my class." Then he would walk between them like they were his classmates, giving high fives as if they were all cheering him on. It was adorable, but also powerful, because I could see how much this moment meant to him. Malik is autistic, and there are times when big changes or loud events make him nervous. But with this, it was the complete opposite. If you've made it this far, drop a comment and let me know where you are watching from and what time it is there right now. I love connecting with viewers from all around the world. He wasn't scared at all. He was excited. He wanted to be there. He wanted people to see him. He wanted that moment of crossing the stage. He told literally everyone he met about it. At the grocery store, he told the cashier, "I'm graduating Friday." When our neighbor was walking her dog, Malik ran up just to say, "Guess what? My graduation is this week." Even our mailman knew. I think half the neighborhood was aware of Malik's big day, just because he couldn't stop sharing it. The night before the ceremony, he was buzzing with energy. He put on his little sunglasses and started dancing around the living room like he was at an after party. He grabbed a spoon from the kitchen, pretended it was a microphone, and shouted, thank you, everyone," as if he had just won an award. I sat on the couch just watching him, and I remember thinking, this is what joy looks like. He looked at me with that big grin and said, "Dad, tomorrow is going to be the best day of my life." I smiled and told him, "It will be, buddy, I promise." And I believed it. But then, my phone buzzed. It was late, almost midnight. Malik was finally getting ready to wind down, and I almost ignored the call. But when I glanced at the screen, I saw the name, Sandra, my sister. The second I saw it, my stomach sank. Sandra has always been the kind of person who knows how to stir things up. Even when she doesn't need to, she finds a way. I answered, hoping it was something small. Maybe she just wanted to ask about parking, or what time to show up. But the moment I heard her voice, I knew this wasn't that kind of call. Her tone was sharp, like she was already angry before the conversation even started. She said, "I don't think Malik should be at the graduation tomorrow. It's going to be too much for him. You need to do the right thing and keep him home." I froze. For a second, I didn't even know how to respond. This was my son's day. He had been counting down for weeks. He had told everyone about it. He had dreamed about this. And here was my own sister, telling me he didn't deserve to go. I tried to stay calm. I said, "Sandra, he's been waiting for this. He's excited. He's ready." But she cut me off. "No, he's not. You're setting him up to embarrass himself. Imagine if he has a meltdown in front of everyone. People are going to remember that. It's not fair to him, and it's not fair to us." Us. That word hit me. She wasn't worried about Malik. She was worried about appearances, about her image, about what other people might think. I felt my hands shaking as I gripped the phone tighter. "He's going," I said quietly, trying not to lose it. Sandra let out this cold laugh. "We'll see about that." And then she hung up. I just sat there, staring at the dark screen, my heart pounding. In the next room, Malik was still awake, whispering to himself, practicing his name being called, "Malik Johnson," he whispered, then pretended to bow. I could hear his little giggle through the wall, and all I could think was, what if she actually tried something? What if she found a way to stop him from walking across that stage? I went to bed that night with a pit in my stomach, realizing tomorrow might not be the celebration Malik deserved, but a battlefield. The next morning started with Malik bouncing out of bed before I even had my coffee ready. Normally, it takes me calling his name 3 times just to get him up for school, but that day, he was already dressed before I even walked into his room. He had laid out his clothes the night before. Little black dress pants, a crisp white shirt, and shiny shoes he had been begging to wear all week. He put them on with this kind of seriousness, like he knew this outfit was part of the ceremony, and then he put on his graduation cap. He wore that cap while eating breakfast, while brushing his teeth, even while tying his shoes. I asked him, "You sure you want to wear that cap now? What if it gets bent?" He just shook his head and said, "Nope, I'm a graduate today. Graduates wear caps." And honestly, who was I to argue with that? While he was eating cereal, I just sat across from him watching. It hit me that this wasn't just a little ceremony. For him, this was proof. Proof that he had made it through a tough year. Proof that he was growing. Proof that he could do something big like everyone else. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't shake Sandra's words from the night before. I kept replaying them in my head. The way she said, "We'll see about that." It didn't feel like just an opinion. It felt like a warning. I tried to push it aside. I told myself, no one can stop him from graduating. It's not her decision. But still, a part of me stayed on edge. When we got in the car, Malik was singing to himself the whole ride. He had made up this little graduation song that just went, "I did it, I did it, I did it, yeah," over and over again. He was drumming on the dashboard, smiling at every car we passed like they were all there to celebrate him. Meanwhile, I'm gripping the steering wheel, thinking, please let today go smoothly. Please let nothing ruin this for him. When we pulled into the school parking lot, the energy was electric. Parents were everywhere, holding cameras, fixing ties, smoothing down little dresses. Kids were running around with their gowns flowing behind them, laughing and shouting. You could feel the excitement buzzing in the air. Malik froze for a second when we got out of the car. He stood there, holding my hand, just taking it all in. Big crowds sometimes make him anxious, and I could see his shoulders tense. I leaned down and whispered, "Remember what you practiced. Just focus on me, okay?" He nodded, took a deep breath, and then marched forward with this determination that honestly put me to shame. But just as we started walking toward the entrance, I spotted her, Sandra, standing by the doors with her arms crossed, looking like she owned the place. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't clapping for the kids running by. She was just waiting. My stomach dropped. She walked right up to us, blocking the doorway, and said, "You can't bring him in." Malik looked up at her, confused. "Why not, Aunt Sandra?" She gave him this fake sweet smile and said, "Because, sweetheart, this isn't for everyone. It's only for kids who are ready." I could feel the heat rushing through me. My fists clenched without me even realizing. I stepped between them and said firmly, "Move, Sandra. He's ready. More than ready." Her face hardened. She whispered so only I could hear, "You're making a mistake. If he has a meltdown, don't say I didn't warn you." And then, without another word, she stepped aside. Malik didn't notice the tension. He just tugged my hand and said, "Come on, Dad. I don't want to be late." So, we walked inside. But the whole time I kept glancing over my shoulder, wondering what my sister was planning. Because deep down, I knew she wasn't done. Inside the auditorium, it felt like a whole different world. The place was packed, balloons tied to chairs, banners stretched across the walls with "Congratulations Graduates" written in bold letters, and parents buzzing around like paparazzi snapping pictures every 5 seconds. Malik held onto my hand tighter than usual. He was scanning the crowd, his eyes darting everywhere. The noise, the lights, the movement. It was a lot. But he didn't run. He didn't hide. He took another deep breath, just like we had practiced, and whispered, "I can do this." I bent down and said, "That's right. One step at a time." His class was lining up near the stage. All the kids dressed in their gowns, little caps wobbling on their heads. Malik joined the line, standing tall, even though you could see him fidgeting with his sleeves. I found my seat in the front row, but my eyes kept drifting to the back of the room. And of course, there she was, Sandra, arms crossed, lips tight, staring like she was waiting for something to go wrong. The principal stepped up to the microphone, smiling wide. "Welcome, families, to our graduation celebration." The crowd erupted into cheers. Parents clapped, kids shouted, the music started playing, that typical graduation march, and one by one, the kids started walking across the stage. Every single parent had their phone out. Some were even standing on chairs to get better angles. I lifted mine too, because I wasn't about to miss a second of Malik's moment. Finally, they called his name, Malik Thompson. My heart skipped a beat. He froze for just a second. The room suddenly felt huge, and everyone's eyes were on him. I held my breath, but then, like we had practiced 100 times at home, he stepped forward. 1 step, 2 steps. Then, a smile broke across his face. Not the nervous one, not the shy one. The big, confident grin he had practiced in the mirror. The crowd started clapping, and I swear, for a moment, the entire room disappeared for him. He walked with his head high, shaking the principal's hand, holding his little diploma with both hands like it was made of gold. I felt tears burning in my eyes. My boy was doing it. He was living his dream. And then, of course, Sandra decided that was her moment. She stood up in the middle of the crowd and said loudly, "This is a mistake. He doesn't belong up there." The entire auditorium went silent. Heads turned. Parents whispered. Kids on stage froze mid. I shot up from my chair, my chest pounding. "Sit down, Sandra," I shouted before I even thought about it. But she didn't. She kept going. "He's going to embarrass himself. This isn't for kids like him. Why are we pretending?" I looked at Malik, terrified that her words might crush him. But do you know what he did? He lifted his diploma high in the air and shouted back, "I belong here. I graduated." If you're enjoying this, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want to see more stories like this one. The crowd erupted. Parents clapped louder than before. Kids on stage cheered. Even the teachers joined in. The noise was deafening, but in the best way possible. Sandra's face turned red, and for the first time, she looked small. She tried to say something else, but the cheers drowned her out completely. Nobody was listening to her anymore. Malik walked off that stage like a champion, holding his diploma like a trophy. He came straight to me, jumped into my arms, and whispered, "See, Dad, I did it." And I swear, in that moment, there wasn't a single doubt in my mind. He had just proved everyone wrong, especially her. When the ceremony ended, families gathered for pictures and cake. Malik posed with his friends, flashing the same confident smile from the stage. I caught Sandra trying to leave quickly, her head down. No one stopped her. No one even cared. But people did stop me. Other parents came up to shake my hand, saying things like, "Your boy was amazing." And that was the bravest thing I've ever seen. Teachers hugged Malik, telling him how proud they were. Sandra had tried to humiliate him, but in the end, she only humiliated herself. Driving home later, Malik sat in the back seat holding his diploma like treasure. He kept staring at it, whispering, "I really did it." And I turned to him and said, "No, son, you didn't just do it. You owned it." Because that day wasn't just a graduation, it was a victory. A reminder that nobody decides Malik's worth but Malik himself.